Thousands gather all over the country Thursday to remind Filipinos of the late dictator Ferdinand Marcos's declaration of martial law 45 years ago. President Rodrigo Duterte earlier declared September 21 as a day of national protest in anticipation of mass actions to mark the anniversary of martial law. He suspended work in government offices and in public schools across the country. The major rallies in Metro Manila are at the Commission on Human Rights in Quezon City and the bigger rally at RIZAL Park in Manila. The RIZAL Park rally is held at the LAPU-LAPU area. Rally organizers cite malicious text messages meant to taint the protest and discourage participants. Supporters of President Rodrigo Duterte and groups opposed to his policies held their own rallies at Mendiola Park near Malacañang. Opposition Senators Leila de Lima and Antonio Trillanes on Thursday slammed President Rodrigo Duterte for his blatant lie that the two are involved in irregularities stemming from the controversial Disbursement Acceleration Program. Duterte says the two senators may soon face cases on the DAP, which the Supreme Court declared partly unconstitutional in 2014. But Duterte does not explain how de Lima, who was just his secretary under the previous administration, was involved in DAP. De Lima says Duterte is not just a murderer but also a pathological liar. Duterte accuses Trillanes of earning from DAP schemes. But Trillanes says the Commission on Audit cleared his projects involving DAP. Philippine National Police Chief Ronald Dela Rosa urges suspects in the death of law freshman Horacio Castillo III to surrender. Dela Rosa says he believes they were just carried away by the challenge of manhood during the hazing rites of the AEGIS JURIS fraternity. Dela Rosa says, quote, "I know that you're not bad people. You're not criminals. Maybe you just got carried away by a rush of emotions or the challenge of manhood. You were just challenged." Manila Police on Wednesday named the suspects John Paul Solano, the supposed Good Samaritan who brought Castillo to the Chinese General Hospital, and Antonio Trangia and his son Ralph, an AEGIS JURIS officer. The younger Trangia left the country on Tuesday, a day before he was tagged a suspect. The police also named 14 AEGIS JURIS members as persons of interest and placed them on the immigration lookout. The Philippines signs the first legally binding international agreement to comprehensively prohibit and eventually eliminate nuclear weapons. Foreign Secretary Alan Cayetano signs the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons on behalf of the Philippines on the sidelines of the 72nd session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. The Foreign Affairs Department says the Philippines is among 121 UN member states that adopted the treaty. None of the 9 countries that own nuclear weapons took part in the negotiations. This comes as North Korea conducts nuclear tests condemned by the international community, including the Philippines. Malaysian police detained 7 Filipinos suspected of involvement with the Abu Sayyaf. The 7 men, aged between 22 and 38, are working as private security guards in and around Kuala Lumpur. The arrests bring to 41 the number of foreigners suspected of being terrorist fighters detained in Malaysia this year. The men supposedly entered Malaysia via Sabah in September 2015 before heading to the capital city using fake documents. Fears are growing in Malaysia over the rise in Muslim militants' activities, inspired by ISIS and the Marawi city conflict in the Philippines.